So recently there was a Nintendo Direct which showcased a whole bunch of games. I'm sure at this point in time you have a clear understanding of how Nintendo Directs work. But one thing that stood out of note was the 40th anniversary of Mario, where they showed a whole bunch of stuff. They showed HD ports of games, they showed new games, they showed sports games, side games, a whole bunch of things. But fans aren't really happy with this. Now, I didn't get to see this live, I was busy doing something, whatever. When I did come back home and I did watch this, I was quite intrigued. I said, yeah, this looks quite good, for a 40th anniversary. You're getting all these new titles, you're getting these ports for Wii games that aren't really very accessible anywhere. What's the issue here? Logo downgrade, I fear. Honestly, it feels like they didn't even try for the Mario 40th anniversary. Interesting. The sheer amount of content we got for the 35th anniversary, which should be lesser milestone than the 40th, was insane. This anniversary was probably super rushed. Now, there was quite a bit of things released for the 30th anniversary edition, such as a new Game & Watch which showed Super Mario Bros. Super Mario 3D World, including Bowser's Fury, which is a port of an old game mixed with a new kind of version of this game, this new different style of game. It's using the original game's engine and everything. There was also the Super Mario Bros. 35 when it was like this racing, you get to race across the levels, something like that. I'll be honest, it's been years since I've actually touched that, so I can't really explain it, but it was really fun though. It was really fun. There's also Mario Home Circuit, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which is a very divisive title. We'll probably get onto that in a little bit. There's also Lego merch. So yeah, there was a whole bunch of things. Meanwhile, with this, there was ports for Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. There was a brand new Mario Tennis game. There was a Yoshi game, a brand new Yoshi game. There was this new mode for Super Mario Wonder. There's the Mario movie that's going to be coming out. Maybe the stuff wasn't as comparable to the 35th, but it's still a pretty sizable amount. I'm surprised people are really falling for this rhetoric of feeling a bit of disappointment with the 40th anniversary. I was honestly expecting a Super Mario Maker 3, or maybe a 3D Mario teaser or something, but at least Mario Maker 3. Best I can do is a movie trailer and some Wii ports. What's with the mass gaslighting that people are trying to pull out like the 35th anniversary was really good? Like, no, it wasn't. It kind of feels like, here's stuff just for Mario's 40th anniversary. More like, since it's Mario's 40th anniversary, here's some news on Mario stuff we're working on. It's more of like an update on what's going on than less of an announcement. And less of a celebration. Well, some fans have kind of a different approach to how this whole situation is panning out. This is what not trying looks like for Mario fans. As someone who's not really a big Mario fan, when I look at this, I'm kind of just like, is this not enough? But without further ado, I'm talking a lot. Let's actually go into what was released, or at least what was announced for the 40th anniversary. So they announced the sequel of the Mario Galaxy movie, which is meant to be based off Super Mario Galaxy, which seems like it's going to be like the focus of this 40th anniversary. Which doesn't really sound like a big deal to me. I don't know why everyone's kind of like freaking out about it. Personally, that's just me. But for me, yeah, it kind of makes sense. This is going to be like the big thing. I'm really sure how it's going to work out. Obviously, with like this kind of movie, Mario Galaxy, you'd at least think this is going to be like a third entry, maybe like a fourth, when you can build up to this kind of story. Because there's going to be a lot of characters you have to introduce. You might have to introduce Yoshi, or there's going to be a Yoshi. Rosalina's going to have to be in the movie, which we don't even know who's going to be voicing her. Maybe Bowser Jr. might be in the movie. There's going to be like a couple of characters that are still up in the air whether they're going to appear in the movie or not. So I'm quite excited for this movie. I want to see how they, how they make it, how they can actually, have it be cohesive to how the first movie was. But this movie is also going to be accompanied with the Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 ports. Now listen, Super Mario Galaxy 1, phenomenal game, simply class. Now I haven't played Galaxy 2, but if it's like anything like Galaxy 1, then it's just the same kind of quality. And I can see when you're going to base the movie of Super Mario Galaxy, you're going to want to at least port the games over to the Nintendo Switch 2 to at least get the fans to see what the games were like for this movie. And I guess the big thing here is the price. I've seen on Image where it's like £40 or $40 for each game, which if I'm Nintendo, I'm not charging £70 for this. I'm charging more like maybe 50, and then if you want to get one game separately, you do £30, but that's also because I'm not Nintendo. Also with this, they're gonna add more Rosalina stories, which is very interesting. Obviously I've not played Galaxy 1 in like years now, but there's a room you can go into where Rosalina tells like stories about like, I think her, or like, and so her as like a little girl or whatever. And yeah, they're gonna include more pages onto that. The downside of this though, they're making a book which is gonna have all the pages in, but it's not gonna include the new pages. So honestly, what's the point of, like, surely if you're gonna want to sell this book, you're gonna have like all of the new pages to have it be like the full story, right? I mean, surely. And there's also gonna be Amiibo. I mean, who cares? In Super Mario Galaxy 2, Mario is once again called upon to rescue his friend, Princess Peach. Nintendo are really trying to force this friendship. Like, give it up. These ones were a couple before this year, and probably going to remain a couple after this year. There was also a new tennis game that was announced.
The latest entry in the Mario Tennis series is hitting the court on Nintendo Switch 2.
You know, it's so funny that after all these years, anytime Roger Craig Smith does anything, I just think of Sonic. But this is kind of like a standard Mario Tennis game, although there are like brand new game modes in this as well. There's like a whole new like baby game mode where Donkey Kong's just like supervising these kids. I don't know why this guy has become the protector of the young, the protector of the youth. But this game was kind of like it turns you into like baby Mario characters, ships of your abilities, and then you have to like kind of learn how to like play tennis again, if you kind of get my drift. Not like literally, but kind of like you have to gain the abilities back, which is kind of interesting. Although I will say for this, in my opinion, I feel like there were better games to try than tennis. I feel like we've tried tennis a lot, or at least not a lot, but at least quite a bit. Okay, I get it. Like Super Mario Tennis, it's kind of like the popular version of like the sports games that he has. But you can do baseball, you can do like basketball, you've done football, and you do golf at times, but does it always have to be tennis? Then there's also like an expansion pack kind of little thing with, you know, Super Mario Wonder. It's kind of like a challenge mode where you can kind of like go through these different challenges, like collecting coins or whatever, or like jumping into stuff like that, which is like kind of interesting. Hopefully there's enough challenges to like last you quite a while, but it's really enough to pack it into an older game and be like rebranding it as like, oh, this is the Nintendo Switch 2 edition, you know, just with this mini game collection. There's also like this Talking Flower figure, which I'll be honest, it's kind of like a non-factor for me. It's kind of like a merchandise thing. Yeah, you're just gonna collect it, it's gonna talk, I don't know what it's gonna say, but yeah, it's just like a collectible item. You just put it on your stand, whatever. I don't care about this one at all. And finally, there was this Yoshi game, Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. As I'm editing this, I currently realized that all of the footage for me talking about Yoshi and Mysterious Book is kind of just disappeared. I don't know where it's gone, but yeah, it looks kind of interesting. I like the art style. It's really nice, unique art style. I like the fact that Yoshi's one of the characters that get to experiment with his art style. I think the platforming looks decent. It looks like a nice little comfortable game that you can get. I don't know how long it's going to be, probably like 5 hours, 6 hours. That'll be pretty decent, but yeah, looks pretty decent. Can't really say too much else. So yeah, that's my review of the whole lineup, and I will say I do see both sides of the argument here. Like for me, at first glance, when I saw all this stuff, I was kind of like, what's kind of the issue? You know, you get 2 games, you're getting a whole movie, you're still getting brand new games, you're getting brand new sports games, you're still getting brand new Yoshi games, even though that's not really Mario, but it's still something new, and you're getting extra content in older games. But the more I look at it, I'm kind of like, is this really the best you could have done? Like, yeah, sure, you get 2 games, but they're ports, which wouldn't be a problem. It wouldn't be a problem if it wasn't charged at $70 or $40 for each game. That's really like the biggest like stab in the throat, really. The movie is also kind of like a non-factor. I mean, yes, it's going to be the biggest thing in the year, but you kind of expect that. This is just meant to like supplement that, and for $70, yeah, we're going to pay for it. Is really $70? 70? When we look at the Mario Tennis game, it's still just another Mario Tennis. The Yoshi game looks interesting. I'm not gonna lie. For me, it looks interesting, but it's not Mario. And then the added content in Super Mario Wonder, it's cool that it's added content, but you're gonna make this be like the brand new Nintendo Switch 2 Definitive Edition, whatever, and it's just got an extra thing in it, not even like extra levels, extra story content, just this extra thing here. Now I will say for this, they haven't released everything, so we still don't know what everything's going to be like. And also, while the amiibos and the Talking Flower is cute and all, it's still not a game. I really do think this is missing like that killer 3D Mario game to kind of like cap off the year. And there is still time for that. Maybe not around the movie, but in like November time, you know, I can see them trying to maybe hype up the game at the start of the year, or at least next year. But yeah, that's my kind of my review for this. I'll probably give us like I'll give it like a 6 out of 10, 5. Okay, I'll give it like a 5.5 out of 10, I'll be honest. Not the best, considering it's Mario, the biggest video game character of all time, but it's got some quality, some dashes of quality. Maybe just like a whole bunch of slop, whatever, but for the most part, a Mario Galaxy movie and the 2 Mario Galaxy games, they kind of like do a lot of the heavy lifting. But that's my review for this whole Mario 40th anniversary. Let me know what you guys think down in the description. You know, I'm not the biggest diehard Nintendo fan. You know, I don't even play that many Nintendo games nowadays, but there's something I wanted to talk about because, you know, everyone was talking about it a lot, and I wanted to get my insight on it as someone who, you know, prefers Sonic. But yeah, if you guys have an opinion on this and you're more Nintendo savvy than I am, Leave your opinion in the comments. I'd appreciate it. You know, I read all comments, so yeah, I'd see it. And also, I'm not gonna be making Nintendo content only. I know I made like the last video was a Nintendo video, but my next video is about Bubsy. So yeah, stick around for that, and yeah, take care.